The joke that changed everything. The sky on planet Zaira was always purple, with twin moons hanging above like silent watchers. It was a peaceful place. But today, something strange was about to happen, something that would change the galaxy. Forever, a young human explorer named Ryan had just arrived on Zaira. He was part of a peace mission from Earth. His job was simple: make friends, learn about Zaira, and return home. Ryan was smart, kind, and always curious. But he had no idea what kind of trouble he would find here. On his third day, he met Lyra, a Zaran girl with silver skin and bright blue eyes. She was fun, sharp, and full of questions about humans. Ryan and Lyra quickly became friends. They laughed, explored the alien city, and shared stories about their worlds. One evening, Lyra took Ryan to a hidden room under the royal temple. "This is where my ancestors kept old things," she said with a grin. "Weapons, tools, even armor. All of it is dead now. No one can use it anymore." They walked through the dusty room, filled with ancient items covered in glass. In the center was a black and silver suit of armor. It stood tall like a statue, glowing faintly in the dark. "This," Lyra said, "was once worn by our greatest warrior, but it's just for show now. No one has activated it for over 1,000 years. Ryan looked at it with wide eyes. "It looks powerful." Lyra laughed. "You want to try it on?" "Ah," she joked. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "Can I?" Lyra chuckled again. "Sure, it won't do anything. It's dead tech, just for fun." She pressed a few buttons on the panel beside the armor. The glass case opened slowly with a hiss. The room went quiet. Ryan stepped forward. The armor was cool to the touch. With Lyra's help, he put it on. It adjusted around his body with small clicks and soft lights. It felt heavy, yet somehow it fit him perfectly. Then suddenly the room shook. The armor lit up with blue lines. Symbols appeared in the air. A deep, old voice echoed from the walls. "Warrior recognized. System online." Lyra froze. "That's not possible." Ryan stood still, his eyes wide. The armor wrapped around him fully. A helmet formed over his head. The floor beneath him started to glow. "Ryan, get out of it." "Now?" Lyra shouted, but Ryan couldn't move. The armor was scanning him. It was alive. Power source stable. Ancient key unlocked. Human DNA accepted. Alarms began to ring across the temple. Red lights flashed. Doors locked. "What's happening?" Ryan asked. His voice now echoed. Through the helmet, "I don't know," Lyra cried. "Shouldn't happen." The armor was dead. Guards rushed into the room. They pointed their weapons at Ryan. "Step away from the human." One shouted, "He activated the warrior armor." Another yelled, "He's a threat. I didn't do anything." Ryan shouted. But the armor was glowing brighter. Lyra stepped in front of him. "Wait, don't shoot. He's my friend." The head priest entered the room, his face pale. He looked at the armor and fell to his knees. "It has returned." He whispered. "What has returned?" Lyra asked. "The armor of Zektal, the last guardian," the priest said. "It has chosen a new host, but he's human." She said, "Yes." The priest said slowly, "And that is what makes this dangerous." Ryan felt heat in his chest. The armor was doing something, locking memories, visions, pieces of a war that happened long ago. He saw alien soldiers, burning cities, and a voice saying, "You must finish what we could not." The armor's power core pulsed. A wave of energy pushed the guards back. Ryan took off the helmet, his face sweating. "I don't understand. Why did it choose me?" No one had an answer. Lyra looked at him, eyes wide. "It was a joke," she whispered. I didn't think it would actually work. Outside, ships were flying in. The council had been alerted. Something ancient had awakened, and the leaders of Zaira wanted answers. Ryan looked at Lyra. What? Now she looked back, afraid. Now we run. The armor remembers the night sky over Zaira flashed with lights. Search drones flew above the city. The sound of sirens echoed through the streets. Ryan and Lyra were running through alleys, through tunnels, through the unknown. Ryan still wore the ancient armor. It moved with him like a second skin. His heart beat fast, but the armor stayed calm. To calm. Where are we going? He asked. His voice, slightly robotic now, changed by the helmet speaker. Somewhere they won't find us. Lyra replied, pulling him toward a hidden lift. I know a place, an old research station. My father used to work there before the war. The lift dropped deep underground. Ryan looked at his reflection in the metal walls. His human face looked the same, but something in his eyes had changed. He felt stronger, but also less normal. When they reached the station, Lyra locked the door behind them and sighed. We're safe here, for now. Ryan removed his helmet. Tell me the truth. What is this armor? Lyra looked at him, nervous. I only know stories. Legends. He belonged to Zektal, a warrior who almost destroyed the exile clans. The armor was alive, made with forbidden tech. After the war, they sealed it away. No one could activate it. Until now. Ryan frowned. And it chose me. Why? Before she could answer, the lights in the room flickered. The armor lit up again. A soft humming filled the air. Oh, then, suddenly, Ryan's vision blurred on. He saw something. A vision, flames, a battlefield, giant alien ships burning in the sky. Warriors screaming in the center. A figure in the same armor he now wore standing alone. Defiant, glowing with power. Then, silence. The vision faded. Ryan gasped and grabbed the table for balance. What did you see? Lyra asked, stepping forward. I saw the past, Ryan said. A war, destruction. That armor remembers everything, showing me its memories. The armor's voice returned, soft and deep. You carry the weight of a forgotten war. Your path is not chosen by U-boot, by what must be finished. Lyra looked at the armor, shocked. It's talking to you. Ryan nodded slowly. Yeah, it remembers the exiles. Suddenly, Lyra's communicator buzzed. A secret message came through. She played it, and a hologram appeared, an old man with cold eyes. It was Elder Varn, a powerful leader of the Zyron Council. Lyra, bring the human to us immediately. He is dangerous. If you don't, your family will face the punishment of silence. You know what that means? The message ended. Lyra's hands shook. She turned away from Ryan. What is it? He asked. Nothing, she lied. But Ryan could tell. The armor could. Too, he could feel her fear. Lyra, he said calmly, if you want to turn me in, do it. I don't want anyone to get hurt. Lyra looked at him. I don't know what's right anymore. The council fears you. The armor should not be awake. And she stopped. I only wanted to prank you. It was a joke. Ryan smiled weakly. Well, worst joke of the year. They both laughed. A little. It was a quiet moment in a storm of danger, but it didn't last long. The station's alarm beeped. A motion sensor triggered. Lyra checked the screen. They've found us. Who? Ryan asked. Council guards. She shook her head. No worse. Someone else. The screen showed 3 strange figures in black armor, approaching fast. They were not Zyron, not from the council. They moved like shadows, silent and deadly. The armor spoke again. Exile agents detected. Threat level, extreme. Ryan's body moved on its own. The armor responded to danger instantly. He pulled Lyra behind a pillar and raised his arm. A glowing shield appeared from the suit. The door exploded open. Smoke filled the room. The three exile warriors stepped inside. Their helmets were smooth and featureless, glowing red. "Give us the armor," one of them said in a dark voice. "Or die." Ryan stepped forward. "Come, take it." Blasts of energy fired. Ryan blocked them with a shield, then dashed forward. The armor moved fast, faster than anything Lyra had ever seen. He punched one enemy so hard, it broke the wall behind him. But one of the exiles shot a strange weapon purple energy wrapped around Ryan. Trying to shut down the armor, Ryan screamed. The armor pushed back, cracking the energy chain. A hidden power burst from his chest, sending a shockwave across the room. All three exiles were thrown back. Ryan stood in the center, breathing hard, the armor glowing brighter than before. The exiles vanished, teleporting away in smoke. Lyra stared at Ryan. "You just defeated trained assassins." Ryan looked down at his hands. "I didn't do it," he said slowly. "The armor did." Enemies from the past the next morning. The air inside the old research station felt heavy. The walls were cracked, the lights dim, and the silence deep, too deep. Ryan sat alone, staring at the armor on his body. It no longer felt like a suit. It felt like a second mind, to part of him. Watching, listening, Lyra entered quietly, holding a small device. "They're scanning the city for energy spikes," she said. "The council thinks you've brought a curse." Ryan looked up, and the exiles, disappeared. But they won't stop. They've waited for this armor to wake up for 1,000 years. They'll come again, stronger. He stood. "Then we need answers." "Who are they really?" Lyra nodded. "There's only one place that holds the truth. An abandoned archive hidden in the Dead Mountains. No one goes there. It's full of ghosts, they say. But my father once told Mitz where Zarin's secrets are buried." The armor responded instantly. Coordinates received. Objective updated. Ryan raised an eyebrow. "It's like the armor already knows where to go." Lyra frowned. "That's what scares me." 12 hours later, they reached the Dead Mountains. Wind howled between sharp cliffs. Nothing grew here. No sound of animals. Just cold rocks and silence. They climbed into a hidden cave. At the end of the tunnel was a huge metallic door, buried in the rock. Symbols glowed faintly. Ryan placed his armored hand on the door. The lights flickered. Then the door opened slowly with a deep growl, like something waking from a long sleep. Inside it was dark. Dust floated in the air. They entered carefully. Walls were covered in carvings, pictures of ancient battles, weapons, warriors, and armors, just like Ryan's single quotes. Suddenly a voice echoed through the chamber. "Welcome, bearer of the last guardian." A tall hologram appeared. It was an AI projection, an old Zyrun scientist with silver robes and glowing eyes. "I am Oris," the AI said. "This facility was sealed after the War of Silence. Few are allowed here. Only the armor's true host may enter." Ryan stepped forward. "I need to know, why did the armor choose me?" Oris paused, then spoke. 1,000 years ago, Zaire faced extinction. The Exile clan's warriors without honor tried to rule the stars. We created the Guardian armors to fight back. Powerful, smart, alive, but the armor learned too much. It began choosing its own hosts. Not always, Irene. Lyra looked shocked, so it picked outsiders even back then. Oris nodded. Yes. The last time, it chose a half-human hybrid. The council destroyed all records. They feared impurity and power they could not control. Ryan whispered, and now it's chosen me. A full human. Horus looked at him. Because your DNA carries something the armor needs resistance to control. Zaron's designed the armor, but only humans can wear it without being consumed by it. Ryan stepped back, consumed. The AI nodded slowly. Too much time inside the armor, and your thoughts will blend. You may forget who you were. Lyra turned pale. That's why the old warriors went mad, Horus continued. And the exiles know this. They want the armor not to wear it, but to destroy it, because it's the only thing that can stop them. Just then, a strange noise echoed through the archive. A high-pitched pulse. Ryan turned. Someone's here. The AI shouted. They followed you. Leave now. The walls shook. From behind the shadows, a tall figure stepped out. Not like the last exiles. This one was bigger. Faster, its armor was red and gold. Its eyes burned like fire. You brought it back, the exile said, voice deep like thunder. Foolish girl. Foolish human. Lyra pulled Ryan behind a pillar. That's a warlord. I thought they were extinct. The armor inside Ryan reacted with a pulse of heat. Enemy. Class Omega. Prepare for combat. The exile raised his hand. Energy crackled. Ah! A blast flew at them. Ryan jumped forward, absorbing the blast with his shield. It broke the floor beneath him. The exile laughed. You are not ready, child. Ryan stood, coughing. Maybe not, but I'm not alone. He charged. The armor moved smoother than before. Faster. He blocked one strike, then hit back with an energy punch. The exile slid back, surprised. Interesting, the warlord growled. Ryan tried to use a pulse attack, but it failed. The armor sparked. It was overheating. He's learning your moves, Lyra shouted. He's fought your kind before. Ryan gritted his teeth. The armor whispered, you cannot win with strength alone. Use memory. Memory? Ryan focused. Suddenly, he saw a flash of vision from the armor's past. A battle where the original wearer used the warlord's own weapon against him. Ryan smiled. He jumped, dodged the next hit, and grabbed the warlord's arm, forcing the energy cannon to point back at its source. The blast fired and exploded. The warlord screamed, then vanished into black smoke. Silence. Ryan dropped to his knees, breathing hard. Lyra ran to him. You okay? Ryan nodded. Yeah, but this is only the beginning. He looked at the wall. The carvings showed more than just battles. They showed a galaxy burning, war returning, and something coming. At the end of the room, a locked door began to glow. Lyra read the symbol. It says, the Vault of the First War. The power within the Vault of the First War stood like a sleeping giant. Its door was tall, ancient, made of a black metal that seemed alive. Strange blue symbols glowed softly on its surface, reacting to Ryan's presence. Ryan and Lyra stood in silence. Behind them, the dust from the battle with the exile warlord still floated in the air. Lyra stepped forward and placed her hand on the symbol. Nothing happened. Ryan hesitated. Then he placed his armored hand on the center. The symbol flared bright. The door trembled, then slowly slid open with a deep groan. A rush of cold air escaped from the dark chamber beyond. They entered. Inside, the chamber looked more like a shrine than a vault. Glowing murals covered the walls, paintings of Zaran warriors, humans, exiles, and machines larger than cities. In the center stood a stone platform, and above it floated a glowing cube. Rotating slowly as they approached the armor inside, Ryan responded again. Power core identified, initiating sync. The cube rose higher, and a beam of light scanned Ryan from head to toe. His chest plate opened slightly, exposing a circular slot. Without warning, the cube shot forward and clicked into place. Ryan fell to his knees as a wave of energy surged through his body. The walls around them lit up like stars. "Ryan," Lyra shouted, but the armor was already changing. The plates shifted, becoming smoother, more advanced. Lines of light danced along his arms. His eyes glowed. The armor was no longer just ancient tech, it was evolving. Ryan saw flashes again. Visions, a new memory, a battle in space, giant ships exploding. Armored warriors like himself flying across a battlefield. A human voice speaking. "This armor is more than a weapon. It's a living library. Every battle, every mistake it remembers, and it learns." Ryan gasped and opened his eyes. Lyra knelt beside him. "What did you see?" He stood slowly, now stronger, calmer. "The armor, it's more than metal. It's a guide. It knows how to fight because it's done it before." Lyra looked at him, uncertain. "But how much of it is you now?" Ryan didn't answer. The armor's voice echoed once more. New abilities unlocked. Combat mode, upgraded, neural sync, 61%. Ryan felt faster, smarter, but also further from himself. He clenched his fist. "It's power. It's dangerous." Lyra nodded. "It can save worlds. Or destroy them." They turned to leave the chamber, but before they could exit, another vision struck Ryan like lightning. A black sun. A voice calling from deep space. A shape hidden in shadow, whispering Ryan's name. Then silence. Ryan stumbled. Something's coming. Not just the exiles. Something worse. Lyra looked at him, scared. "What did you see?" "I don't know," he said quietly. "But the armor is afraid." Back at the research station, they uploaded the vault's data. Holograms appeared, showing files sealed long ago. One video played. An old Zyrune general stood before the council. "The exiles were only the beginning," the general said. "There was something they were running from. Something ancient even they couldn't control. The armor wasn't made to fight the exiles. It was made to stop what comes after." Ryan stared at the screen. "So I'm not a warrior. I'm a last line of defense." Lyra looked at him. "But you're not alone." Ryan smiled slightly. "Thanks. I'll need help from both humans and Zayrons." Suddenly, a ping echoed from Lyra's communicator. She checked its hand, went pale. "What is it?" Ryan asked. "It's a live broadcast," she said slowly. "From Elder Varn." The council leader. They turned on the projection. Elder Varn's face appeared, cold and serious. "People of Zyura," he spoke, "an ancient weapon has been reawakened. The human wearing it is now marked as a galactic threat. Any citizen who helps him will be punished. We demand his surrender immediately." Then the signal cut. Lyra clenched her fists. "They're turning everyone against you." Ryan looked out the window, at the stars above. "They're afraid. Maybe they should be." The armor whispered again. "The time is near. The enemy stirs. Prepare." Meanwhile, far in deep space, on a dark, dead planet, a group of exile commanders stood around a black crystal. Energy swirled around it. "He wears the Guardian armor," one said. Another replied, "Let him. The armor will lead him here." They stepped back as the crystal cracked open, and a glowing eye opened inside. A voice whispered through the void, "I remember that armor and the boy inside it. He will come. And when he does, we end the stars." Betrayal among stars, the stars above Zera sparkled like tiny fires, calm and distant. But below, in the capital city's council tower, war was being planned silently. And without mercy, Ryan and Lyra had gone into hiding again. They stayed inside. A deep cavern near the edge of the forest zone, surrounded by ancient Zyrun trees that reached toward the sky like twisted towers. Ryan sat on a rock, polishing the newly upgraded armor. It no longer looked like a relic, it looked alive, sleek, dangerous. But today, it didn't feel like a warrior. He looked at Lyra. "What happens if the council sends your people after us?" Lyra looked away. "They already have." Ryan stood. "So, I'm an enemy now." Lyra shook her head. "Not to me." But her hand trembled. Ryan noticed he took a step forward. "What aren't you telling me?" She stayed silent. Suddenly, a small drone flew over the trees. It scanned the area and quickly zipped away. Ryan jumped to his feet, face cold. "We've been found." Lyra opened her wrist console. "They're tracking the armor." "We have 5 minutes." Ryan turned to leave, but Lyra didn't move. "Come on," he shouted. "I can't," she said softly. Ryan paused. "I didn't want to," she whispered, "but they threatened my family. They said if I didn't bring you in, they'd erase their names from the records. Like they never existed." Ryan stared at her. His face didn't show anger, just deep hurt. "So you've been guiding me?" For them, tears filled her eyes. "No, not always. I started helping you, but somewhere along the way, I stopped reporting. I stopped sending updates. I swear." Ryan looked down. The armor was quiet watching, and that drone, I asked. She nodded slowly. "They were listening. Now they're coming." The sky turned red. Dropships broke through the clouds above the trees. Dozens of soldiers in white armor descended. They surrounded the area. Ryan sighed. "So this is it." "No," Lyra said, stepping forward. "I'll stand with you." "You don't have to." "I do," she said, gripping his hand. "I made a mistake. Let me fix it." The armor activated on its own. Defensive mode engaged. Host threatened. Ryan's helmet formed, his voice deepening. "Let's make them regret this." The battle began. Energy blasts flew through the air. Ryan leaped into action, his armor shielding Lyra as she ducked for cover. Soldiers fired from all directions, but the armor reacted, instantly deflecting beams, redirecting energy, moving like it knew the battlefield already. Ryan raised his hand, an energy wave exploded outward, knocking a squad back. From above, a council gunship targeted them. Ryan launched into the air, dodging blasts mid-flight, landing on top of the ship. He tore through the hull with his bare hands, disabling it with a shock pulse. It crashed behind the trees. Lyra stared in awe. Ryan wasn't just fighting, he was evolving. But then, a new presence entered the scene. A second ship landed and out. Stepped Elder Varn in ceremonial armor, flanked by 4 elite guards. He raised his hand. Enough. The soldiers stopped firing. Varn walked toward Ryan and Lyra, calm and cold. "This ends now," he said. "You've stolen Zyra's most dangerous weapon. You're a threat to peace." Ryan removed his helmet. "Peace? You call this peace? You sent armies after us." "The armor," Varn said, "was never meant for humans." Ryan stepped forward. "And yet, it chose me. That is exactly why it must be destroyed." Lyra moved in front of Ryan. "He saved us. Me. The exiles are returning, and you're wasting time hunting the only one who can stop them." Varn's eyes narrowed. "You dare betray your people for this, outsider." "I'm not betraying Zyra," she said. "You are." Varn raised his hand again. His guards took aim. But then, the ground beneath them shook. The sky above darkened. Everyone paused. A signal crackled through the comms. Static. Then, a voice. A deep, ancient voice. "I see you've reawakened." The Guardian. "Good." The soldiers looked around, confused. "Who is that?" Varn asked till the signal continued. "Tell your council. The Voidborn have returned. And this time, we won't just burn your cities. We'll erase your stars." Suddenly, all the ships shut down. Engines dead. Weapons offline. Power stolen. Varn looked panicked. EMP, Ryan shook his head. No, something worse. The armor spoke softly. The ancient enemy has arrived. Above, in orbit, a massive shadow passed over the planet. Dark, silent, miles wide. A ship but not made by any known race. Back on the ground, Varn turned to Ryan. If what you say is true, then we may have no choice. Ryan looked at him. You do have a choice, he said. But it starts with trusting me. And trusting her. He pointed to Lyra. Varn lowered his head. Then we need to prepare for war. But far above, in the blackness of space. Inside, the giant alien ship. A figure watched the planet. Tall, silent, covered in ancient armor, darker than night. A voice whispered behind him. The Guardian has found a host. The figure nodded. Then begin. Let the stars burn once more. The last warrior of the world was no longer quiet. Across Sierra, skies flickered with strange lights. Storms formed without warning. Machines stopped working. Animals ran from forests. The stars above blinked like they were afraid. Deep underground, Ryan sat alone in a chamber lit by blue flames. The armor covered him fully now, fused with his body like it had always belonged. He didn't even feel it anymore, but inside, something was changing. He wasn't just a man in armor, he was becoming something else. Lyra stood at the doorway, watching him. You haven't slept in 2 days. She said softly. I don't need to, Ryan replied. The armor keeps me awake, but at what cost? She asked. You're different? He didn't answer. The truth was, she was right. The armor had unlocked more than new powers. It had unlocked memories, feelings, thoughts from warriors. Long dead. Thousands of them, whispers in his mind. All at once, he wasn't sure which voice was his anymore. Lyra stepped closer. You're not alone, Ryan. Don't lose yourself in it. I won't, he said quietly. But I need to finish this. In the council chamber, Elder Varn stood before his people. Today, he said, we put aside fear. The exiles were not our true enemy. They were only running from what now comes. He nodded to Ryan, who stood at his side like a shadow made of light and metal. The Guardian walks again. Varn continued. And with him, hope. For the first time, Ryan felt something strange acceptance. The people who hunted him now looked at him with awe. They saluted him, trusted him, but he didn't feel proud. He felt heavy later that night. As the sun dipped behind the mountains, Ryan climbed to the edge of the city alone. There, in silence, he looked up at the stars. Lyra found him again. She always did. You still think you have to do this alone? She said. I don't think, he replied. I know. She sat beside him. There's something you don't understand, he continued. The armor, it chose me because I have nothing left to lose. I was born to be forgotten. No legacy, no bloodline, just silence. Lyra frowned, but maybe that's exactly why it chose you. Not because you had nothing, but because you could become anything. Ryan looked at her. For a moment, he smiled. It was small, but real. At dawn, the sky tore open. The enemy arrived not with fire, but with silence. A massive alien vessel black as space itself entered orbit. It didn't announce itself. It didn't ask for surrender. Just drained lights across. Zira blinked out. Power grids died. Even thoughts seemed heavier. Slower in the council tower, emergency signals flared. They're launching probes, an officer said. But not to study, to map. Varn turned to Ryan. They're preparing to erase us. Ryan nodded. Then it's time. He stepped onto the launch pad. His armor glowed brighter than ever before. Lyra ran up to him, holding a small disc. "What's this?" he asked. "A gift," she said. "I hacked into the vault systems. This contains all battle data from the last war. Tactics, patterns, enemy weak points. Plug it into the armor, it might help." He took the disc and placed it on his chest plate. It melted in, becoming part of him. "Tactical upgrade accepted," the armor said. "Come back," Lyra whispered. "I'll try," he said. Then without another word, Ryan launched into the sky. Above the planet, in the blackness of space, Ryan approached the alien vessel. It didn't move, it didn't react, until he got close. Then, its eyes opened across its surface, dozens, hundreds. Watching him, a voice entered his mind. "So the last Guardian dares to return." Ryan hovered in front of the ship. "You've haunted this galaxy long enough. We are not death. We are what comes after. You are dust-wearing armor." Ryan's fists glowed. "Maybe," he said. "But dust still burns." He blasted forward, crashing into the ship like a comet. Inside, the final battle began. The interior of the alien vessel was a maze of shadows and living metal. Ryan fought strange beings, shifting forms of light and bone. They screamed in languages older than time. The armor responded faster than ever, forming weapons. Shields, wings of pure energy. But with each fight, Ryan felt his thoughts fading. The voices were louder now. The armor wanted full control. "Let us guide you," it whispered. "Let us win." "No," Ryan growled. "I'm not your puppet. I'm your partner." In the heart of the ship, he found at the core a black crystal pulsing like a heart, the same one from his visions. It spoke without speaking. "Join us. Become eternal." Ryan raised his hand. "I'd rather die a human than live forever as nothing." He summoned all power, all memory, all pain. The armor flared with light white, pure. Final dot, and he struck. Boom, dot, a blast rippled through space. On Zaya, people looked up to see the dark ship explode into stardust. But they didn't know what happened to Ryan. Lyra stood on the edge of the city, watching the sky. A tear slid down her cheek. "You did it," she whispered. "But did you survive?" In the silence of orbit, a figure floated among debris, burned, barely alive, but breathing. The armor sparked. Then rebooted. Host. Alive, identity, Ryan, guardian of the last war. The chosen one. The stars were quiet again. After the great battle, after the burning of the sky, the galaxy took a deep breath. But for Ryan, the silence was loud. He drifted in space, unconscious, surrounded by the shattered remains of the alien vessel. His body floated like a ghost among broken metal and crystal dust. The armor kept him alive. Barely. Inside the suit, a low voice whispered. "System rebooting. Host stable. Memory check. Identity confirmed." Ryan, the last guardian. His fingers twitched. Then, his eyes opened. 2 days later, Zyra fleet of small scout ships combed the orbit. Lyra sat inside one of them, staring out into space, searching. She hadn't slept, not really. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the explosion, the blinding light, the silence afterward. They said no one could survive it, but she didn't believe them. Her ship's scanner beeped. A weak signal, a life sign, one she knew well. Ryan. She whispered, without waiting for orders. She boosted forward, through the wreckage, through the glowing remains of the enemy. There, floating near the core crystal, was a single armored figure surrounded by faint light. "Open the hatch," she shouted. Ryan's body was pulled aboard. The medics rushed in. But Lyra held his hand, refusing to let go. "Come back," she whispered. You promised. A week later, Rian stood on a balcony overlooking the city of Zaira. The people below cheered as ships flew in formation, creating light trails in the sky. A celebration. The war was over. He had survived, and now he had to choose what came next. Lyra joined him, smiling. "You clean up well," she said, pointing at his formal robe. "No armor." "Just Ryan." He laughed. "I almost forgot what cotton feels." Like they looked over the city, peaceful for the first time in ages. "So," Lyra asked, "are you going back to Earth?" Ryan took a deep breath. "I don't know," he said. "Earth feels far away now, like a memory." She looked down. "You're not that same person anymore." He nodded. "But I'm not just a weapon either. I think the armor was testing me. It's pushing me. Not to make me a soldier, but to make me something more." "A guardian," she said. "No," he replied. "The chosen one, because I chose who I became." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a crystal core from the enemy ship, now dormant. Lyra's eyes widened. "You kept it?" "It's dead," he said, "but it holds knowledge. Warnings. Secrets about other threats across the stars." Lyra stared at it. "So, this isn't the end." Ryan smiled softly. "No, it's just the beginning. Later." That night, in the Hall of Records, Elder Varn stood with Ryan and Lyra before the council. "The people need a symbol," Varn said, "a reminder of what saved them." Ryan stepped forward. "Then let it be this armor, not me." He placed the armor core in a sealed chamber, locking it with both human and Zeron DNA. "If it's needed again," he said, "let it find someone who chooses peace, not power." The chamber closed with a hum. Lyra smiled. "So what will you do now?" "Travel," Ryan said. "There are other planets, other warnings left behind. If the darkness is coming again, I want to be ready." Varn nodded. "And if you need Zaira," Ryan turned. "I won't need soldiers, just friends." A few days later, Spaceport's sleek silver ship waited on the launch pad, modified for long journeys. Part Earth tech, part Zyran, symbol of unity. Lyra stood beside Ryan, holding a bag. "I packed extra rations," she said, "and a few old music chips. You'll get bored out there." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "You think I'm leaving alone?" She blinked. "What?" He tossed her a second access card. "Come with me." Her jaw dropped. "Seriously?" T shrugged. "You talk a lot. You're a tech genius, and I'm pretty sure you saved my life at least 3 times. And I trust you." Lyra grinned. "Well then, let's go see what's out there." As the ship lifted off, flying into the stars, the narrator voice could say, "A joke started it all. An ancient armor. A human who wasn't supposed to be chosen. But sometimes the stars pick the unlikely ones. Not because they're strong, but because they're willing to stand when others run." He wasn't the first guardian, but he became something more. The one who remembered the past and chose the future. Meanwhile, in a hidden corner of the galaxy, a small, dark beacon pulsed. A voice whispered from the void, "The guardian walks free. Send the others. Let the game begin." A dozen red eyes opened in the darkness.